Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wassalamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Salamun ala al-mursaleen. Allah Ta'ala has made the system of the universe in such a way that a person needs a companion. Every man and woman needs a companion to live the rest of their lives with sukoon, tranquility and peace. And that's why Allah Jalla wa Ala has legislated nikah. When we compare Islam to the many other ways of life present in the world today, we find some of them, like Buddhism, which encourage celibacy, which encourage people not to marry. And then we have Christianity, where the nuns are not allowed to marry. But Islam is a deen of not just naql, of textual proofs, but also of aql as well. Islam is a very rational religion. So Islam has not encouraged celibacy. Rather, where the need arises, Islam has allowed a person to marry more than one wife. Understanding the needs of people, understanding that at times there will be more women than men. So in countries which permit having more than one wife, like Pakistan, when the need arises, Islam has permitted marrying more than one. But I want to draw your attention to something today. Something which unfortunately is still prevalent in our community in 2021. Every so often I get these messages from the youth, from members of the public. And just last week, one youngster from Bradford, he messaged me. And he said, Mawlana, my parents are saying to me that if you don't marry this girl that we've chosen for you, we are not going to forgive you. And friends, I want to say, this is a reoccurring story which I have to hear time and time again. Where parents are blackmailing their children into marrying them off to their cousins, relatives, friends' children. Listen very carefully. This is haram. Forcing your children to marry someone, pressurizing them to marry someone, blackmailing them to marry someone they don't want to marry is haram. And you will be questioned in the court of Allah Jalla wa Ala. The ahadith of Bukhari are quite clear. A woman, she comes to the Messenger of God sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Ya Rasulullah, my parents forced me to marry so and so person. And the hadith is clear. The Messenger of God alayhi salam, there and then, he cancelled the nikah. Immediately he cancelled the nikah. In another narration, a woman comes to the Messenger of God alayhi salam, Ya Rasulullah, I have been forced to marry him so and so. And the Messenger of God alayhi salam says to her that if you wish, you may divorce. And she says, no, I wish to stay with him. And the scholars of hadith mention that she went to the Messenger of God alayhi salam to prove a point. That nikah and her marrying was her choice. She had the choice to marry whom she wanted. And friends, this is important. We are living in the 21st century. 1400 years ago, the Messenger of Islam came to eradicate forced marriages. And we claim to be his ummah, alayhi salam, and yet we are still engaging in those practices which he came to eradicate. Now when the youth come to me and say, Mawlana, how do we get married? I always encourage them to marry someone whom their parents are happy with. I always tell them that seek marriage through your parents. Your parents want the best for you. Your parents will know people who have daughters. But friends, there is a fine line between encouraging your child, finding a spouse suitable for him or her, and forcing them or blackmailing them into marrying someone they don't want to marry. You know, we've given our children every freedom under the sun. We've allowed them to spend time with the friends they want, the school they want, the college they want, the course they want. And how do we expect them to marry someone of our own choice? No, we have to be realistic. The time for tarbiyah is from a young age, where we instruct them from college years that if you want to get married, this is the criteria. Deen. Then we will not be worried and concerned when they come home and say we want to marry so-and-so and not our cousin from Pakistan, India. You know, blackmailing our children to say, if you don't marry so-and-so that we've chosen for you, we are not going to forgive you. This is blackmail, emotional abuse. So I request the parents that tarbiyah starts from a young age. We are all aware that parents want the best for their children. But don't blackmail your children into marrying someone of your choice. Encourage your child, but don't blackmail them. This is actually having a negative impact on the mental health of our children, of our youth. Because we teach our children from a young age that your parents' du'as are everything. If they make du'a for you, Jannat milegi. And if they give you a du'a, your dunya and akhirat is barbad. Now for a parent to say to the child, I'm not going to forgive you if you don't marry so-and-so, this has a very bad impact on the mental health. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to give us the understanding of His deen. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.